Everybody, welcome to another Taubmans live colour event. My name's Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist, and we are here this evening to talk all things colour, projects and products. Now look, as we always do, we invite you to upload any questions that you have regarding any projects that you're embarking on, certainly any products that you'd like to know a little bit more about, and certainly any questions that you have on colour. So this is an opportunity that we put on every week for you to have a voice and certainly upload questions, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Now the way we run these sessions is I will be streaming for the next half an hour, and as we do stream, it's really hard for you to upload any photos. In actual fact, it doesn't work. So if you can hold off once we finish streaming, pop your photos into the feed and I will certainly answer all of your questions. But in the meantime, start firing any questions except for photos, please. So if you joined us last week, you would have seen that we were very, very lucky to have James Treble joining us on our live colour advice session. He had some fantastic tips, some extremely valuable knowledge on projects and colour. And I'd really like to recap on some of that. So next week, we're going to touch on some of the colours that he has mentioned. I think it's a really good opportunity to present the colours that he has talked about and that he loves. So, but for the moment, if you haven't had an opportunity to have a look at the recording that we did with James, it's on our Facebook page. So I would invite you to have a look, because if you are embarking on an interior design project, etc., you're certainly going to get some great tips from there. So tonight, we're going to be talking about exterior projects. But I really want to talk about, and I've touched on that we have a fabulous portfolio of products. So I want to bring to light, as I start this session, that until the 31st of May, proceeds from selected products are going to go to GIVIT. It's going to contribute to $180,000 for our annual In It Together project, or our campaign. And look, they use the funds to support things like, as you know, we've had lots of floods, droughts and fires. So I am reading from here so I don't forget. This is the third year of our partnership with GIVIT, and this time we have raised $355,000, which has been donated to over 70 projects Australia-wide, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So tonight we are talking all about exteriors, because look, I know it's such a huge investment when you are looking to colour up the exterior of your home, and we certainly want to talk about some fantastic products that we have that can help to beautify your space. So I've been out and about this week, and it's been fantastic to be in stores, talking to consumers, helping them with colour. And honestly, there's a lot of people out there doing a repaint, and one of the questions is, where do I start? And look, it's quite daunting when we're doing an exterior project. You look at things and you go, look, I've got roofs, I've got window frames, I've got doors, I've got eaves, guttering fascia, perhaps a garage door, and then you've got the main body of the house. So can be quite a lot of different elements that we need to paint and colour up. So tonight we're going to talk about how much colour, because I think the placement of colour is really, really important, and it certainly can help you can transform a space with colour. It's the easiest way to do so, but it's really important that you get the balance and the proportion of colour correct so that you get a beautiful, visually appealing space. So, and we're also going to touch on some fantastic products, because one of the questions that I've been asked is, what do I use to paint a roof? What can I use on my guttering and my eaves? What can I use on my soffites? So I'm going to touch on a couple of products as well for you. So let's break it down. Let's begin. I'm just looking at my notes here so that I don't lose track. So, okay. The first question is, where to start? And the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you bush? Are you coastal? Because I do believe that when you are selecting colours, it's really important that the house sits really well within the environment. So, some people like to, and the other question or other things that you need to take into consideration are, is the house, for example, heritage listed? And if so, you will have to choose from a particular colour palette. And it's always important, if you do have a house that that you consult with your council, etc., because they will have stipulations against that. Certainly as well, if you're living in a sort of a housing estate, a lot of them do have stipulations in regards to what colour you can use on the exterior. So there's a couple of little tips. Do your homework first before you start selecting all of the colors. So another question or another thing to think about is what stays, what goes. So what are we working with? Because it's fantastic to say, you know, look, I'd love a really beautiful grey colour scheme. However, if you're not changing the color of your windows, etc., sometimes it's hard to achieve that. So let's have a look at what you're working with, what stays, what goes, etc., what you're going to color up, and then build your color from that. And then what about the roof? You know, things to consider. If you're going to be painting your roof, what color are you going to be painting the roof? Or if the roof is the way it is and it's going to stay that way, we need to work with that. So here's a little tip. So one of the first things I like to say is when you're working with color, start from the roof down. So if you're going to change the color of the roof, have a look around, decide whether you like a dark or a light roof. And you'll know that, look, to be honest, 9 times out of 10, most people choose the color of their roof from the ColourBond range. So I'm going to take you very quickly to Taubmans. I'll just go from being in front of you. I'll pop you onto my laptop and then I'll talk you through. So, oops, there we go. I'll put myself back in the corner. Okay, so if you go to Taubmans, so www.taubmans.com.au, and you'll be brought up to a page that looks like what I have in front of me here. So it looks like this. And the beauty of this is it's a one-stop shop, so to speak. So if you're shopping for colour, which we are here, so we can go down to paint colours. And it has a multitude of colours on here for us to select. We can also go down to, I'm going to go down to the swatch center here. So and the reason I'm going straight here is all of your colors are grouped. So you can have a look, click here on ColourBond, and all of the ColourBond colors, as I'm talking about roofing colors, they're all listed here. So this is a great place to start if you're unsure of what color you would, if you are painting your roof to start off with, and if you're unsure of what color you would like your roof to be, have a look here. And the reason I say to have a look at the ColourBond colours, because when we're talking about painting, for example, your guttering as well, fascia, or if you are renovating and you're building an extension and you're wanting to match up to existing, you can guarantee that the colour of your roof that you have that is existing is a ColourBond colour. So this is a great place to start. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you, so I'm going to stay onto the web, is to go back to, we'll go back up the top here to our Taubmans homepage, and we'll go to products. I'm going to take you to exterior paints. So it's brought up all weather and it's brought up sunproof. So one of the questions that I am asked quite regularly is, look, I'm wanting to paint my roof, but I have a rainwater tank and I need my, you know, the paint to be safe to use so that I can safely collect my potable drinking water. So straight here in front of us here, as you can see, sunproof, which I will bring up here. Sunproof is the way to go. So if you're painting your roof, have a look at sunproof. It's safe for the collection of potable drinking water and it's fantastic to paint your roof out there. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. Awesome. So sunproof is the way to go for our roofs. Okay, so the next thing, what about your guttering and fascia? Now, what I find that works really, really well is when you are painting or looking to colour up the exterior of your home, if you do your, here's a very simple way, if you do your roof, and this will also depend on the style of your home as well, but if you do your roof, your guttering, your fascia, your window frames, and even perhaps the garage door the same colour, you've got effectively one colour. And look, the secret to having a beautiful, well-balanced exterior colour design or colour palette is to use, you can use what they call the 60-30-10 principle. So that's effectively using 3 colours, sometimes 4. And so the way you would do it is the majority of your dwelling, so your 60% may be one colour that is on the main body of your house. And then your 30% would be, let's say, your roofing colour, your guttering, your fascia, your garage door and your window frames. And then if you're wanting to add another 10%, you can certainly introduce a coloured front door. And if you look at working your colour schemes around this sort of proportion of colour, you can't go wrong, and it always looks fantastic. So that's something to consider. So as I said, it's a 60, 30, 10. It is an old principle of design or an old design rule. You can certainly look and find out some more information about it, but it's pretty well a foolproof way of creating a fantastic space. And look, it works, as you would have heard me talking about this prior, it works equally as well on the interior of your home. Okay, so the other place that we're going to colour up as well are the eaves and the soffits. And you're probably thinking, what colour do I use for that? Now, given that we're talking about eaves which sort of sit, you've got your roof, they sort of sit under there, so you're wanting to have something quite light. And so I like to use a beautiful soft white that sort of sits really well with the exterior colour design that we're working on. So think about using something quite light under that. It works really, really well. Now for the main body of the house, as I said before, we're going to look at what colour we're going to do our roof, guttering fascia, windows, garage door. So if you select a colour for that, then we can work from that to choose a beautiful tone that's going to sit with that. And then obviously we talk about looking at a front door. So what I'm going to do is take you to just a very quick space that I drew up today, just to talk you through so you can see where I'm throwing colour and what I'm talking about. So we'll go back to the laptop, pop myself up in the corner. Beautiful. So a very easy elevation here. As you can see, when we start over on the first home up in the corner there, where I'm hovering around with my mouse, one colour all over except for an injection of a coloured front door. So very, very plain. Look, I'll be honest, there seems to be very much a trend for white, and sort of up where I reside, nearly every second house is white. So I have used here all over this space, I've used, and you really can't see it that well, but I have used Taubmans South Pole. I've also got Colorbond Surf Mist on the roof guttering. I've taken the South Pole underneath onto the eaves or the soffits. And then you've got your Surf Mist garage door. And so it's pretty well a one space. And then I've used a colour called Clay Tone on the front door. So very white, clean. Yeah, a lot of people love this sort of look. Then I've injected some colour over here. So we are keeping our garage door surf mist, our window frames are surf mist, and also our roof guttering and fascia. So, and then for the body of the house, I've used a colour called Taubmans Smoke Haze, excuse me, which is a beautiful, soft, I guess you could say it is a grey, but it sort of almost has an injection of brown in it. So it's going into that greyish sort of tone, but it's beautiful. This sort of colour would work extremely well, whether we're talking about having a bush setting. You could also push for that to work towards coastal. Perhaps if you're going to go coastal, I would change the colour of the front door and perhaps pick up more on a sea tone, sort of a beautiful dark, deep sea green would work super with this. So you can see there, it has the colour all over the main body of the house. And so what I've done here is I've played around with still using, we're still effectively using our three colours if you like. But what I have done also is down on the bottom here, I've kept it light and then just used above the darker or the deeper tone. So just showing you how you can use colour, how you can place your colour to get a different effect. Again, the same coloured front door. And then over here, again, playing around with colour. Excuse me, but you can see up the top here, we've got the lighter balanced with the light down below. So you can play with colour, make sure that if you're going to do that, that you get that balance right so that when you stand back, you've got that visually appealing, well-balanced exterior. So that's one way of playing. So I'm now going to take you very quickly to my iPad, and I'll pop myself back up in the corner again. So now you can see the colours that I've used here, the Taubmans Colorbond Surf Mist, Taubmans Smoke Haze, and then Taubmans Clay Tone. So I thought I'll put a few arrows here so that I can talk you through it. So the roof guttering fascia, garage door, and the window frames, I've actually used the Colorbond Surf Mist. And then the Taubmans Smoke Haze is on the rest of the body of the house. And then for the front door, we've used Taubmans Clay Tone. And then for the soffits or the eaves, if you like, and then also sort of the roof that's protruding out over above the front door, used a colour called Taubmans South Pole. So it's a beautiful, easy to live with colour scheme. It looks visually appealing. It's very well balanced. Effectively on show are 3 tones with a 60-30-10 principle. Works really, really well. Now I'm going to talk to you. I'll just bring myself back on camera. Okay, so that's one way of doing colour. Now, obviously, when we talk about using colour, you can still do that 60-30-10 principle, but I would always recommend, you've got to look at what your house has on offer, work with what exists, and obviously different styles of home, etc., are going to warrant different colours and perhaps different placement of colour. So, this is, if you like, what I've shown you tonight. It's for quite a modern exterior home. But going back to the 60-30-10, it works extremely well. Now, I want to talk to you about using, the right product. So we've already talked about using sunproof if you are painting a roof and you're wanting to collect your rainwater for drinking purposes. Perfect. Now, the next product I want to talk to you about, and I will bring up the website again, we'll go back to my laptop. I'll pop myself in the corner. It's another fantastic product that we have. So I think that, if you're going to be going to the trouble of painting your home, look, it's our biggest asset that we have, and you want to look after it and you want to use something on it that's going to withstand weather conditions, etc., etc. So I'm going to take you or send you towards Taubmans All Weather. Now, the beauty of this product is it comes in a matte finish, so a matte sheen or a low sheen. Obviously, it's got your semi-gloss, gloss. But if we're talking about painting the body of the exterior of our home, as I've shown you tonight with the elevation that I've drawn, certainly for a render, you could use a low sheen or you could use a matte. And the same applies when we're talking about doing our eaves and soffits. Again, a low sheen or a matte. Now, All Weather, as you can see on the can, look, it's been designed. It's been designed for Australian conditions. It doesn't matter whether you live in Tasmania where it's freezing cold, or whether you're living in far north Queensland where it's, you get extreme high humidity and it's really hot. It's what they call thermoplastic, designed to expand and contract. And it has what they call Nano Guard technology. Now, you would have heard me talking about Nano Guard technology when I talk about Endure. And I know I've had quite a few people telling me how much I love Endure on our sessions, which is very true, I do. I equally love All Weather as well. It has the Nano Guard. So Nano Guard is, if you put a standard paint film under a microscope, it has a one-size paint particle. So I'm going to quickly draw you an elevation here because I've got time before I start answering a couple of questions. So a one-size paint particle, can we see that, is a standard paint film. With Nano Guard, which you will find in our All Weather and also Endure, what happens is it has a smaller paint particle that fills the airspace. So my beautiful drawing here, you can see all these little, okay, so these smaller ones fill the airspace. So you've got a large paint particle and a smaller paint particle. And the smaller ones fill the airspace, creating what they call an interlocking molecular structure. So when we talk about using All Weather and having that Nano Guard technology, it becomes what we call dirt shedding technology. So for the exterior of our home, one of the biggest things that's going to, other than your sun and UV, etc., it's having dirt and grime sitting on your painted surface. It's going to eventually help to deteriorate the surface. So what we want to do, or what we have in our All Weather, is we're giving you a product that the dirt shedding technology, a good rain or a good wash down and all of the dirt comes off rejuvenating your painted surface and helping to protect it, giving it longevity. So certainly have a look at Taubmans All Weather. Brilliant, brilliant product. That's certainly the way I would send you, so for doing your home, and as we're talking about exterior. So I'm going to come back on screen. I'm going to answer a couple of questions here that I have for you. Oh, thank you, Chris. It is. Thanks for your comment here. He's saying to us that the In It Together program is a brilliant concept. Yeah, it really is a brilliant concept. I think it's fantastic. I must admit that working for Taubmans and working out in the field, it's certainly something that we do with, we're heavily involved with our communities, and I can tell you there's many times that we've been involved on a brush and roller, and it's fantastic. And so I can honestly talk about these products because I've had plenty of opportunity to use them. Fabulous. So okay, so let me just see here. So I do have a couple of questions here. All right, so I guess talking about the products and talking about, I've just had somebody saying that the Give It program, we talk about our In It Together program. So if you have a look, you'll see a lot of our ads, etc., talking about our In It Together. And so it's our In It Together campaign that we're running. So have a look for that. And you'll see, if you have a look on our Taubmans Facebook page here, where you can see me now, we've got a blurb all about it. So it's definitely worth having a read. Okay, so there is a question here from Sharon. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Sharon. And thank you to the guys behind the scenes. They have sent through an image of your home. So thank you very much. So you're wanting to talk about some colours for the exterior. So if I can describe what I have in front of me here, I have a beautiful, it almost looks a little bit like, oh, the image, it's a little bit blurry here. It almost looks a little bit sort of like a Californian bungalow. Not quite, but so that there's a lot of beautiful red orange brick here, and you're wanting some colors to work with that. So I guess, Sharon, can I ask you a question? Are you painting your roof, etc.? Or the roof from the image here is looking perhaps like it could be woodland gray or green. So if you can confirm your color or whether you're painting the roof, that would be fantastic. Now, looking at a red brick, if you're working with colors, and specifically we're talking about red orange, and you're not sure where to start, it's always good to look at what sits opposite on the color wheel, because the opposites tend to work really, really well. So looking at a beautiful this beautiful home here, and certainly looking at the red brick, I'd be sending you towards something that has a slight green undertone. So we might be sending you towards a beautiful grey or greige that tends to have a little bit of a green tinge to it. So I'm going to get my fan deck and have a look for you, and then I'll pop the colour up onto the screen. So what have we got here? And I really like, I would be keeping, so you've got some beautiful white windows. I'd keep them white. It looks fabulous. And I'd keep all your trims white. Okay, thank you, Sharon, letting us know that perhaps you would like a new roof colour as well. All right, let's do some magic here. So you've got a red brick, and I'm thinking of a roof colour to go with that, with your, perhaps something like woodland grey is going to work beautifully, and then we could pick a hue that's going to complement that really well. So I'll just get a woodland grey up here. We'll find a tone, and as I said, I will pop it up onto the screen. Oh. Now there is a colour here called Observation. So I'll just go to the screen. I'll pop that up here, and then we can I can show it to you. Okey-dokey. Okay, I'm up there in the corner. So there's a colour called Observation. I'm just going to bring that up so it's enlarged. Beautiful, beautiful tone. And it would work extremely well with woodland grey. And then what I would do is complement that with a white as such. Now I'm going to give you a white that's going to work really, really well with that. And it's always nice when we're talking about using whites for the exterior of a home to have whites that have a little bit of depth or a little bit of tint to them. I think they perform better outside when they've got more of an undertone. If you have something like a brilliant white, a bright white, sometimes it can be, if there's a lot of white, and I'm afraid I can't show you the image here, but if there is a lot of white, it's always good to use something that has depth. And so I'm thinking here, okay, so I'm looking at, so we've got observation, I'm also looking at alpine snow, and I'm looking at woodland grey. And so I've shown you the observation. I'll just hop out of that and I'll get the next colour up for you. Beautiful. Okay, that's the next tone. You can see that it is, look, effectively it is a white with a little bit of a, soft, muted undertone. However, if you were to use something like that on the interior, you'd sort of see it come to life. But for outside, against the colours that we are recommending here, it's beautiful. It's just got a slight little bit of warmth to it that's going to work extremely well. So, and then the other tone that I will show you is, well, we'll go into the ColourBond colours, and I'll quickly get the ColourBond colour up that I think would look fabulous for your roof. Oh, here we go. Woodland Grey. I think Woodland Grey would work extremely well with the brick, because as I'm saying, if we're looking at tones and we're looking at a red brick in this instance, working on the opposites of the colour will, so red opposite green, etc., they work really, really well. So going for Woodland Grey for your roof colour, observation for the detail, you know, your front fence and up in your gable if you like, and then I'd look at something like alpine snow to do all of your trims in. I'm just going to go back to the house and have another look to see if there's anything else. And again, you know, I'm looking at your barge board, etc. I would keep that white and stick with your alpine snow. So where you already have white existing, replace the existing white with alpine snow. Roof, as I said, Woodland Grey, and then where you've got the colour sort of up in your gable and then on your front, the front facade that is painted, look at Taubmans observation. I think that would work extremely well. Okay, I've got another quick question. Hi Bryce, thank you very much for joining our session tonight. So you are having some issues with mould lately on the exterior of your home. Yeah, I think there are many people are experiencing that at the moment. So I'm going to recommend that you use, to treat your mould first, there is a product called Mould Action, and it's a flood product. It's fabulous. It was designed for the Singapore market. It's biodegradable. And what it actually does is it kills the mold spore. So when you see mold present, it's the actual spore flowering. So you want to get down to the spore. So by using Mould Action, the way it works is put it onto your surface. If you can let it activate for 24 hours, and then you can wash it off. And then what I would recommend is using your Taubmans All Weather. You heard me talking tonight and doing my little example of Nano Guard technology. So because of that interlocking molecular structure, it's very hard for mold, mildew, etc. to grow, if you like, and it contains mold inhibitors inbuilt into the formula. So fantastic product. Again, certainly going to suit exterior of your home, and it's certainly going to suit for any mold issues that you have out there. Okay, I think that's pretty well it, everybody. It looks like it's been a rather quiet night tonight. But look, I really want to thank you all for joining our session tonight. and certainly invite you to come back next week. We're going to recap on some of the colours, etc., that James mentioned, because there's some beautiful Taubmans colours that I'd really like to bring to life. In the meantime, if you do have any questions, etc., I'm going to be sitting back behind the computer here to answer questions for you on any projects that you do have. And again, we'll be back again next week. So thanks again for joining us this evening. Look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, stay safe and happy painting. Thanks very much. Bye.